Good afternoon. I'm Dennis Galucki. Welcome to the 557th Imagine Greater Buffalo program and our 179th YouTube Imagine program hosted by our wonderful Buffalo and Erie County Public Library. Thanks for joining us today. This program is created by the Center for the Study of Art, Architecture, History, and Nature, or C-SAAHN, as I like to pronounce the acronym, and ImagineLifelongLearning.com. Now, before we get started, just a little housekeeping. Everyone watching will be muted and your video turned off. If you do have a question or comment, please type it into the chat box and we'll go through as many of them at the end of the presentation as time allows. We are recording this program so you can watch it again later on the Downtown Central Library's Facebook page and YouTube channels. And please, we certainly hope you share the link with others. Now on to our featured speaker. Joining us today is Ray Geska to discuss his journey to visit and document all of Buffalo's Catholic churches. Ray Geska was born in South Buffalo and grew up in the Kensington neighborhood. While studying journalism and broadcasting at Buffalo State College, Ray took a job as a weekend host and traffic reporter at Buffalo radio station Hot 104 WNYS rather, where he went on to become a morning show producer and sidekick to local radio legends Danny Neverth and Sandy Beach. As Hot 104 Western New York's S transformed into classic Hits 104.1 and Oldies 104, Ray went on to become a full-time host, sports reporter, and news anchor. After radio, Ray pursued work at Geico, where he worked for 20 years. Now, since August of 2023, Ray has made it his mission to visit every Catholic church in the Diocese of Buffalo, where there are 193, and to document their architecture, interior design, and history. Now, having recently completed visiting them all, he's here to share his experience after also visiting many that were closed some years ago, and at least seeing the exterior of them. That'll all be included. It's a great show. Thanks for joining us. Now let's give a warm welcome to Ray Geska. Ray, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dennis, and much thanks to the Imagine Buffalo group for having me here today. It's really a thrill for me to come here. As you mentioned, it's been since August of 2023 that I decided to embark on this journey. And it wasn't so much just a visit to each Catholic church. I attended Mass each and every day to each of these masses or each of these churches. And it became quite a journey as time built on. I took a little time off of work a year ago, August, went to visit a family friend priest on the east side and needed a little touch of the spirit, got it there, and the beauty of the church that I went to started to lead me to think, man, I got to go see these other churches. So I started researching. And it's kind of tough to find a lot of this stuff online, too, because I think it's more you got to go to the historical societies to find a lot of these places. Did a lot of research online and started a big spreadsheet, listed all the churches, all the Mass times, and before long, me and my trusty friend Siri here punched in the maps, and off we went. It was quite a journey. So I do want to be able to share some of the pictures that I've collected, focusing today mainly based on for the cause of time that we have here, focusing mostly on the Buffalo churches and being able to show you some of the beauty of those today. So I'm going to jump into that and pull up my presentation, and I think we should have some fun here. Thanks again for having me. This is really my first opportunity to jump in and start showing this. I hope for this to grow into something bigger because there is a lot to share, like a lot. So
let's see it. Let's see it.
Yeah, let's do that. So let me bring this up for us right here, and we're going to jump right in. So kind of called myself the Wandering Disciple. Got this name from a friend after I was showing her some of the tour and where it was taking me, and it became something huge. So I want to go ahead and jump into this and show you where we've been. This is a quick look. This can be accessed.
Ray, we do not see your slideshow.
You don't see my slideshow. Let me share the screen, which would probably be helpful. And let's see if this will work for us here.
There we go.
Are we good? All right. Sorry about that. Figured there would be a technical difficulty along the way. That's why it's taken me so long to get this going. But so yeah, let's jump into it. So here we are. This is a quick peek at the spreadsheet I put together. These are all the churches I've visited over time. You can see the date and the fun that went into determining, hey, where am I going to go this morning? What's the weather? What's the time? How many miles? What time do I have to get up and get to that church? So there's probably a good 15,000 miles at least that I put on the car over the past 16 months. And it ended up, the 193rd church was in Fredonia at St. Joseph, which was on October 27th. Was also real fortunate that the guys from the Western New York Catholic were able to go ahead and put out an article on the tour. Did the first part back in January when I was a little less than halfway through. And then Pat from the Western New York Catholic did a final article early November that you can see as well that chronicled a lot of what I've done. So it was real nice to have their support as well. So let's jump right in. Again, what I said was we wanted to focus on Buffalo and some of it. St. Michael in downtown Buffalo, located right behind Shays, and has been standing for a long time. Was established in 1851, founded and staffed by the Jesuits. And real interesting, and you'll see St. Louis coming up here too. St. Michael was founded because of a lot of infighting, believe it or not, going on at St. Louis Church between the trustees and Bishop Timon. So there was a lot of that going on back in the 1800s. Fire did a good amount of damage at St. Michael, and they had to redo a lot of the interior, but the outdoors did stand. A lot of beauty throughout this entire church. Some of the stained glass, the marble altar, just tremendous. After you go one by one, it's just breathtaking. And I'll probably use that word a lot because spectacular, breathtaking, just absolutely fascinating. So this is St. Louis, located right across from the old Courier Express, which is now the Catholic Center. St. Louis is the mother church of the Buffalo Diocese, established in 1829. Was originally called on the site Lamb of God Church, right at Main and Edward. The new structure that you see here was opened in 1843 and is the largest Catholic structure in the United States, or at least it was at the time that it was built. The stained glass, just tremendous. The woodworking, look, this is the ambo that you see here where the lector or the priest will come up and do the readings, just fantastic. As you can see, some more windows, the choir loft, and more woodworking. Again, there's that word, breathtaking. St. Anthony of Padua, this is the one right behind City Hall. When it was originally built, you could see it from the other side of City Hall, but now City Hall certainly blocks the view from the other side. This is the mother church of the Italian community in Buffalo, established in 1891. The makeover happened in 1904. This is where the Latin Mass is heard in Buffalo, for those wanting to go to the Latin Mass. The pictures here just don't do enough justice to the beauty of St. Anthony of Padua. Then we head over to the east side. This is the mother church of Polonia. So on the east side, there's a number of Polish churches that were built in and around a reasonable amount of similar time in the late 1800s. St. Stanislaus in the Broadway Fillmore neighborhood, mother church, as I said, of Polonia. This was established in 1873. There's been a number of alterations over the course of its history, and you can see that throughout the beauty throughout the church. The stained glass, the choir loft, the stations of the cross are enormous and beautiful. The marble, just incredible. Here's the ambo at St. Stanislaus where they do the readings. Just fabulous. Not far away in the Broadway Fillmore neighborhood is another large structure in Polonia, part of the city. It is Corpus Christi Church. This one was established in 1898. You can see this, walk by it a lot. Actually, these pictures you can see, I was walking by during the Dingus Day activities back in April. It was a gorgeous day. As you can see the blue skies, and Corpus Christi involved with a lot of the Dingus Day activities. Just a tremendous church to walk through and see the woodworking, the stations, the murals, the altar, the gates on the altar. Just fantastic. In 2004, the Pauline Fathers assumed pastoral responsibilities at Corpus Christi Church. Beautiful. There we are, and that's the back of the church, more murals. Then down the road, a little farther down Broadway near Bailey, is St. John Canty. This one was formed in 1892. The story for this one goes that the Beltline Railroad made it difficult for those east of the railroad to get to the other Polish parishes, so they needed to build another church, and the diocese did, forming St. John Canty. This is actually slated to close soon. Was there just recently, where Buffalo Mass Mob all attended a mass here. The beauty here, one of the most beautiful depictions of the Last Supper that I've seen, is located right under the choir loft here, which is truly tremendous. Got to come up with some more adjectives. Tremendous, fantastic, and breathtaking. And St. Adalbert, another one in that same Broadway Fillmore neighborhood. So amazing. You would think years ago it was so far from a walking distance, but you drive now and you're thinking, wow, there's one on every corner. But back in those days, in the 1800s, before vehicles, there was a lot of walking involved. St. Adalbert is the only basilica that's located in the city. This one established in 1886. Again, the growing Polish community couldn't all be handled at St. Stan's. They needed to build another church, and they did. And this is truly one of the most beautiful ones that I've been to. Sadly, they only have a handful of masses throughout the year. It's not a regular parish that's open, but they do have events, and they have a handful of masses throughout the year here. St. John Gualbert is part of this same family, right on the Cheektowaga Buffalo line, though. I've seen some that show it's in Cheektowaga, other that shows it's in Buffalo. This is over near Villa Maria College, another one of the Polish churches that were built as the immigrants started making their way down towards the city line. This one built in established in 17, the structure here built in 1928. Tremendous artwork as well, tremendous stained glass as well. And St. John Gualbert also houses one of the largest collections of Catholic relics in the world, which you can see a quick shot of those here. If you have an opportunity to stop in at St. John Gualbert, you will be able to see this. Really, really beautiful there. Heading on over to the south side, St. Thomas Aquinas, sadly recently closed just 3-4 weeks ago as part of the Road to Renewal. Went there for the final mass. Truly a spectacularly beautiful church here as well. The outside, the whole campus is just really something to behold. Irish immigrants formed this one back in 1920. Groundbreaking for the new church happened in 1949. And this was really a staple along Abbott Road for South Buffalo Catholics walking to and from the church. Some real beautiful artwork here as well. The marble work is really something to behold. Around the block from there, somewhat, on Seneca Street, is St. Teresa. Actually, St. Thomas Aquinas merged with St. Teresa just a few short weeks ago. St. Teresa, established in 1898. Church was enlarged in 1925. All of the other parishes that were formed in and around this part of South Buffalo were all formed out of the original St. Teresa territory. As you can see, just some spectacular artwork here as well, the woodwork, a number of beautiful murals on the walls here at St. Teresa as well, as you can see here. And there's the choir loft. Really took a liking to the color of these stained glass windows. Holy Family is on South Park near Cazenovia in South Buffalo. It's now known as Our Lady of Charity Parish. Holy Family and St. Ambrose merged to become Our Lady of Charity. Church established in 1898, enlarged in 1925. And basically the rapid growth in South Buffalo, like a lot of the other areas in the city as well, just grew rapidly in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And this one grew so rapidly mainly because of all the growth and the jobs that were being filled at the local steel plant known as Bethlehem Steel. Just beautiful. Some fantastic stained glass here as well. Murals around the altar. See a lot of these dome murals throughout the city as well, which are just, there's that word, breathtaking. Then we head closer to downtown, St. Columba Bridget. This one is a actual structure a little bit newer, a lot newer than most of them. St. Columba Bridget was formed from St. Columba, which was originally built way back when, and St. Bridget, which was in the first ward, and they merged after St. Bridget had burned. St. Columba, the original church, had burned as well. It was located right next to this church, which was actually built after the fire in 2004. You can see the statues of both St. Anne and St. Lucy. Don't test me on which is which. They came from the original churches that are no longer active. St. Lucy, which was raised, and St. Anne, which has since been closed. Some unique stations of the cross here. There they are again. And that's the original bell that rang at St. Columba, which was right next door. Love seeing that. The history is just gives me chills sometimes. Over to Lovejoy, we had St. Catherine Drexel, was originally St. Francis of Assisi Church. It's on North Ogden Street. This was formed from the merger of St. Francis Visitation and St. Agnes churches in that area. Funny thing is that how beautiful that altar is with the depiction of the Last Supper, but now in the middle of the church, you can see in the right picture is where Mass is actually held, right in between pews on the left, pews on the right. Some fantastic stained glass windows here as well. This one is Blessed Trinity. I can't rave enough about this church. Leroy off of Kensington. The terracotta artwork is amazing. This might be the most beautiful church that I've seen. I didn't grow up too far from here, but it was over the bridge, if you will. And back in those days, you didn't go over the bridge as much. I wish I had, but as an adult, I've since gone back there. And if you have not been to Blessed Trinity and you are a fan of architecture, there is nothing better than this. This is just spectacular. It's on Leroy, the murals, the artwork, incredible. Same with St. Casimir. This one's in Kaisertown. The terracotta artwork on the outside is tremendous. These are different doors to the church where you can see different colors that depict the Blessed Mother. Just fantastic. This only holds one Mass during the week right now at 10 o'clock. And St. John Paul II actually stayed at St. Casimir when he was here many, many years ago. Just a beautiful, beautiful church. St. Bernard, this one also closed recently. This is part of Kaisertown as well. This was formed in 1906 to serve the Germans of Kaisertown. St. Agnes was too far to walk to, while St. Casimir was too Polish, they said, for the Germans. So they ended up forming their own church here, the Germans did, at St. Bernard. And the current church itself was dedicated in 1954. This one closed same day as St. Thomas Aquinas. About a month ago, I was able to attend the final Mass at both of those churches. That's St. Bernard. Then over to South Buffalo, Our Lady of Perpetual Help. They've been in the news a lot simply because of their petitions to keep their church open. This is fondly referred to by South Buffalonians as PETS. It was formed in 1897, needed a church to kind of be in between St. Stephen, which was on Elk Street, and then St. Bridget, which was on Louisiana Street. The formerly top section of the steeple was removed, which seems to be the case with a number of churches over the years in Buffalo through damage, by weather or by aging, steeples had to be removed. Assumption Buffalo is on Grant Street, or make that Amherst Street, near Grant in the Black Rock area of Buffalo. This is a truly spectacular church, and the one that really kind of got my whole tour going when I went to visit a friend priest that celebrated Mass there, and another sight to behold here. St. Mark is over in the Parkside area of Buffalo, just like a block away from the zoo. Tremendous church in and of itself. Beautiful stained glass, beautiful Stations of the Cross, and murals as well. Just a sight to see, I'm telling you. To see it is to believe it. Holy Cross is on the west side, right down actually by the water, and the 190. This is something else. Holy Cross formed in 1914 as the Italians were moving north down Niagara Street. Predominantly a Puerto Rican congregation since about 1960 or so. Something to behold when you walk in. This beautiful depiction of the Blessed Mother actually came from Immaculate Conception Church, which had closed about 17 years ago on the west side. Church of the Annunciation, now known as Our Lady of Hope, is Lafayette near Grant Street, another tremendous structure formed in 1855, formed to serve the long distance between Holy Cross and St. John the Baptist in Black Rock. And then Blessed Sacrament Church. This is where Dennis and I ended up by chance, or as I say, by fate, running into each other last spring. The interesting thing about Blessed Sacrament, formed originally in 1987. The land was originally intended for the bishop's residence, which was right next door to St. Joseph's new cathedral. The church ended up being moved back to where the cathedral stands today in 1975, and at that time, Blessed Sacrament became a parish church all over again, and definitely something to see as well. And I'll finish this up here so we have some time to play with, but of course, St. Joseph's Cathedral. What can you say about this when you go there? It's just something to behold. Just look at the vastness of it, the marble, the stained glass windows, the Stations of the Cross, very similar. And the story here too is behind all of this, behind the altar, is where the bishops of Buffalo are actually buried. Had a chance to walk back there. Their choir loft is something to behold as well. Beautiful St. Joseph's Cathedral, of course, in downtown Buffalo. And I'll wrap it up there, Dennis. I think I hit about my 20 minutes, pretty much right on target there.
Okay, there. Great. I knew I'd see dessert-like pictures, dessert for the eyes, but I didn't know I'd get the commentary, the concise commentary that would really give us that history component to the art and architecture. And you certainly added the history in a concise way. My question is really to you personally. Where, as you mentioned, we did meet, believe in the Spirit's guidance, and here we have this show. What happens next? You've done a lot of work. You've visited not only these downtown parishes, but again, to repeat the numbers of the churches you visited and the exterior churches that you couldn't get inside, that were closed, but there they are. They're part of the landscape of the Buffalo Diocese and the greater Western New York area. So what do you think, given your background, what do you think this could lead to on a national basis of awareness of this inventory of incredible structures and artwork that we have in our midst?
It's a great question. I'm really glad you've asked that. So this is kind of the situation or the quandary or the position that I'm in, is that I've gathered so much. So 193 masses at different churches, 72 closed churches from over the years, 6,700 pictures in all likelihood, doing a lot of research, taking some notes on it. And really what this, as I've talked to others, this isn't really just a pictorial or a historical perspective on the Catholic Church in Buffalo, but this is truly an historical perspective on Buffalo and on Western New York. Some of these churches that I've gone to, like I mentioned, you can see how, again, so many years ago, long before heavy equipment, long before trucks, long before vehicles, these immigrants that came over gave everything to build these structures. So for me to have gone to these and see this and then close my eyes and picture what was going on in these neighborhoods, that's truly what I want to capture. So for myself, I put this together. I started playing around. Okay, this went really well, but I'm not like overly technically sound, you know? So it's like I'm trying to force myself to learn some of these things, but also at the same time, what I would really love is to get those tech savvy folks to say, hey, let's do this. So now I can work in, I'm all about the narration. You know, I'm a broadcast guy. I think, you know, my main tool is definitely not my brain, it's my voice. So what I want to do is be able to narrate and talk about the history behind this, things that have gone on. I want to, you know, talk to people that have been there. You know, I have, you know, whether you're talking to trustees, you're talking to older priests, you're talking to folks that say, hey, my grandmother went there, my father went there, my aunt went there. These are where those stories come out. And these are what I really want to put together, whether it's, you know, I've been thinking about the podcast. I want to do that. It's probably easier than I think, but I could, with these, I could probably do 200 episodes just based on these different churches. And then, I mean, truly just the beauty of these pictures. I mean, I gotta do a book. I gotta do a book, but it's a matter of getting myself to do it.
You know, in our digital age, I have a feeling that podcast idea is the first venue I would consider, and you control your destiny, and you can you know, develop it as it's going along. I would think it'll get a market. I would think there's a lot of watch a football game and you see a lot of folks from Buffalo in every stadium making their when the Bills are playing. There's a lot of interest in Buffalo, and this is the type of thing that well, I'll let time be creative with your mind, and it will evolve. But let's see what our audience is thinking. Melissa, what types of questions do we have?
Yeah, we have a few questions. So first one, I'm sure this won't be an easy one to answer, but of the churches that are scheduled to be closed, what are the top 5, in your opinion, that people should be visiting before they close?
Yeah, that's a real good question. As I look over those that I can think of, the couple that had already closed, unfortunately, there's really not the opportunity with St. Thomas, St. Bernard. So St. Michael downtown had been on the list. I know that they had put in for, they put a petition into the Vatican to try and keep open. That is certainly one of those that should be seen. I'm trying to think as I go, because the bulk of them will probably be outside of Western New York. Unfortunately, I don't have the list of those that are closing right now. I thought I had it on the top of my head, but I could certainly follow up with you on that.
And
there is a way, Melissa, to insert something into the video that gets created. Is there a way to a list of 5 names, for instance? Could that be provided somehow? We'll work on that one, Ray.
Okay.
You mentioned several different terms, just for someone who may be watching this and maybe not as familiar with the terminology. What is the difference between a church, a cathedral, a basilica? What is the difference? Or what,
well, a basilica,
what is the level?
Yeah. Well, a cathedral is typically, there's typically going to be one in the diocese. So it's typically the one that's named as like the church that oversees the other churches in Buffalo. So St. Joseph's Cathedral, for example, that the bishop's residence is right there. So when the bishop were to celebrate mass, that is his home parish. So when priests are ordained, they're going to be ordained at the cathedral. The basilica is typically deemed a basilica from the Vatican based on different reasons, whether it's the history, some of things that may have happened there. So for a basilica, we all know the Our Lady of Victory Basilica, which is one of the most beautiful churches there are, which is right on the line of Buffalo to Lackawanna. But the St. Adalbert Basilica was also deemed a basilica by St. John Paul many years ago. So there's typically not all that many of those. You can find them. Also, Our Lady of Fatima, the Fatima Shrine is basilica as well, which is in Lewiston, and the rest are churches or parishes.
And just to wrap up here, if someone who is watching this is interested in getting in touch with you to help you with a podcast or a book or something like that, do you have some contact information that you would
Yes, thank you for
share?
asking that. And by all means, I'm all about talking about ideas. If you have ideas, if you have information, by all means, do reach out to me. And it's simply my first name, last name. So it's Ray Geska, RayGeska at yahoo.com. RayGeska at yahoo.com. Please reach out. Would love to hear from you. Would love to chat about it. I'm continuing as time goes on. So prior to last August, I had maybe gone to daily mass 3-4 times a year. I've been going pretty much every day for a year and a half now, and I continue to do that. So I'm looking through my camera roll, and I'm determining, those pictures aren't as good from that one. I got to figure out how to get back. So I'm doing a lot more visits here, and there's going to be a lot more pictures. So look forward to those. And to answer the prior question, I actually went to one that's slated to close today, which is Infant of Prague Church, which is right off the Cleveland Drive exit of the Thruway. A real beautiful church slated to close. So if you're looking for one of those to see as well, that's one that comes to mind too.
Thanks, Melissa. Some years ago, I remember WNED did a program on churches, the beauty of them. It was local. Maybe an update of that. Maybe there'd be some interest, on their end to take your content and package it. Obviously, who knows where that could go, but have you had any discussions with them at all?
I had a friend of mine had mentioned them and had reached out. I was hoping to hear something back, but what has happened with a lot of this is that a lot of when I've reached out, a lot are already looking for funding to be in place, that type of thing. So I'm not really in that position as of right now to, put forward, all the funding that might be necessary. So I'm at the point where I'm trying to, figure out what the next step is. Which way do I go? And if, like I said, you and I, fate brought us together, which kind of got me into doing this. And that's where I'm kind of hoping that other things may lead, in that way. Whereas all of a sudden, someone I didn't think would be the person to get me to that next step turns out to maybe be that person that gets me to the next step. Because like I said, this needs to be shared. I'm having a blast doing it, going, taking the pictures, living it, but this is meant to be shared.
And that's why I'm trying to point these questions to you, because not everybody wants to do all of that work that the next step entails. But you've had fun, it's obvious, and I'm sure gained some insights to yourself on this journey. That's what a pilgrimage is. That's what I think you've been on for the last year or so. A pilgrimage right in our own backyard. That's the best I can offer. People go to Europe, they go on a pilgrimage in Spain, they wherever, but we have that capability right here for ourselves, and frankly for others to want to come here and make that pilgrimage. That's just a thought. Just to see the outsides is incredible, let alone get into the insides. But
no doubt.
So we planted some seeds here. Let's see what happens next. all I can say is, Ray, good job. Excellent job.
Thank you.
You've reinforced my own beliefs in a larger power that guides us. And you were guided, and again, just faithfully that we happen to be in the same spot at Blessed Sacrament at the same time at Mass.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you so much.
It was. So thanks, Ray. Folks, thank you very much for watching. We have the, well, we're going to very quickly in December wrap up this year. We typically take a break the last couple of weeks of December. So next week's program, December 10th, will be our final for the year, and it's rather special. We started this program in December of 2009. So this coming December, next week, we will mark the 15th anniversary of the Imagine Greater Buffalo Speaker Series. And I think the roles will be reversed. John Spears is scheduled to interview me. And we'll just reflect a little bit on what these 15 years have been about as far as imagining Buffalo. So I hope you'll join us, be part of the celebration, if you will, next week, and be well in between. I'm Dennis Galucki. Have a good day.